Hello? Is this thing on? Whoo! What's up guys, it's your favorite mystic, TheSirenSayz, and here we are with the long-awaited Katara video. Now I have to admit, it's taken me a while to, get the ambition I need to make this video. And it's not because I don't have anything to say. I have a lot of things to say about Katara. However, I want it to be balanced. This is a Katara video. So today, I did a little bit of research on her. One thing I was happy about is that everything I found out I already knew, but still, it was good to have my memory jogged on some of the things that we know our girl is good at. So let me talk about my personal relationship with Katara, personal relationship with Katara, and then we can just get into the obvious, okay? So, just a caveat, I know in my last two opinion videos, the very first video I did about Avatar, I said some things that weren't very positive about Katara. They were true, they just weren't positive. And I just want to say, guys, nobody's perfect. Aang isn't perfect either. The only reason I made a video defending him, and not just saying everything that was about him, defending him and being all about him, is because there's this weird trend going on where people just decide that they can hate on Aang just for haters' sake. And for me, I'm just really confused as to where that's coming from, so I felt like I had to defend him. I don't feel like Katara needs to be defended, because her arc spoke for itself. I know people personally who do not like her. I would say they hate her, but then if I tell that to them, they'd be like, no, I didn't say I hated her, I just don't like her sometimes. And they hate her. They think that Aang would have been better off with Meng from the fortune teller story and all of that. I don't think that. Okay, I think she's actually a pretty well-written character. I love her with Aang. I love her as a character. And I don't think they really should have changed anything but what happened with her dad in season 3. Okay, that's the only part not that they should have changed that, but they should have added more context so that it made sense. Everything with Katara is I don't think that she should have changed who she is. I feel like there are certain things that they could have given just a tiny bit more context. That way the Katara haters wouldn't have so much to, pudge on. And the only thing I would have changed is, her being kind of delusional towards Aang and Sokka in the 17th episode of season 3. Girl, they've been through loss too. Sit down. But that's probably the only scene that really bothered me towards her character. I wasn't really too bothered with how much she disliked Zuko. As everybody watches it, you can watch reactions. They get annoyed by it because it's come on. But that's because we as the viewers know that Zuko has changed. Katara does not know that. So she kind of has every right to just be on him. I remember when I was a kid, it bothered me too. But that's just because, you're not really thinking with your what does she know brain. You're thinking with the what do we as the audience know brain. So I'm going to give Katara some slack because she deserves it. She is one of the best written female characters out there in cartoons. So, yeah, she deserves her flowers and I'm going to give them to her today. Now, I said everything that I had to say negatively about her in the 2 other videos. So if you want to know what my unpopular opinions were on that, I'll probably have them at the end of this video. So you can click on them and watch. But right now we're going to go into the good stuff. There was some stuff I didn't even remember when I did my research. I was just like, oh, that's true. Okay. Now, who is Katara? Katara is a female waterbender from the Southern Water Tribe, daughter to Kaya and what the hell is? Why am I forgetting her dad's name? Oh my god, Hakoda and Kaya. Younger sister to Sokka, even though she acts like an older sister / mother, but we understand why that is. Katara is just a very caring and sensitive person. She is definite alpha female energy, but she has a soft side. When she really likes somebody, she really just lets out that softer side. So you saw her let out that softer side with Jet. Saw her let out that softer side with every time I talk about him, I forget his name, and it's really starting to piss me off. And here's why it pisses me off, guys. Because his name is not hard to remember. And every time I see his name, I think to myself, yeah, that's his name, isn't it? Why did I not remember that that was his name? It is so annoying. But the first Earthbender guy that we met, him, I will get into who I think she should have tried a little bit out with before she ended up with Aang. Because just like in Never Have I Ever, which I already spoke about, there is a level of love triangles that I do like, but only if it ends with the point of contact that I want. So like, it's okay if somebody has feelings for two people, sort of, as long as they grow enough to end up with the person I want them to end up with. Hey, that is just me, okay? That is just me. But however, with Katara, at one point in time, because now we'll talk about my relationship with Katara, how that evolved. She was my favorite character for years when the show was out. Why was she my favorite character? Look, so she was my favorite character because it was just obvious, alright? Then Top came around and I became conflicted. Okay, obviously. But she was just my favorite character because she was so strong and resilient and interesting and just cool. And as a little girl, I liked having other young people to, you know, enjoy. Other young girls that I could look up to, and I looked up to Katara, and she was my favorite. I loved her role in the show. I loved her characterization. I loved the way that she treated her brother. She didn't treat him with kid gloves. You know, like when it's like she mothered him a little bit, but that's because of how they grew up. But when it was time to man up, she told that nigga to man up. Okay? And honestly, I feel like what happened in season 3 was a little bit of a disservice to her character. And it's not her fault, it's the writers. What made y'all niggas think that it was a good idea to do that to her? To make her have all of these complex emotions and not give credence to where they were coming from. So now we just have to guess, you know, like, oh, she's being a bitch to her dad because he abandoned her and she doesn't really know how to deal with those feelings, so they're just coming out as anger. As a kid, I'm not understanding that. And I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why she wasn't my favorite character anymore as a kid. Because as a kid, I wasn't understanding the depth of like, oh, she's acting this way towards her dad because he left. Like, yes, they said that, but I didn't understand the depth. Because to me, it's like, he left to go fight in the war. The war that killed your mother. All you ever talk about is how much you miss your mother. So why would you get mad at your dad for doing all that he can to protect your home and avenge your mom? You know, so as a kid, I wasn't thinking about the depth of it. Like, oh, like she said in the episode, right? I know you had to do it, but we needed you. That wasn't coming across to me. All I was thinking was, girl, if you don't relax, your dad here now, ain't he? You know? So, I think that's why when I say it's a kid show, I say that because it's on Nickelodeon. Not because it actually is a kid show. There was stuff like that were hard for people to read. And I feel like that was the writer's fault for not adding a little bit, just a tiny bit more context. Because here's the thing, right? She was so excited to see her dad in the first season. And that, I just realized that, thank you, my brain, thank you. In the first season, right, in Bato the Water Tribe, one of the episodes I hate rewatching for obvious reasons because of the Aang thing. It was Aang's worst moment. I'm saying that now. That was Aang's worst moment. But like, in that episode, she and Sokka were beyond excited at the idea that they would have seen their dad. There was no animosity. There was no deeper, complex feelings. And this is technically when she was younger, right? And her emotions, to be honest, her emotions should have been more out of whack at that time. So why is it that she would have been happy to see her dad back then, but then when she finally got to see her dad in season 3, all of a sudden all of these tense emotions come up? You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying that it's wrong or it doesn't make sense. All I'm saying is there's a continuity error. And you could have bridged the gap of season 1 versus season 3, that continuity error, by adding in a little bit of context. Make it be that after she decides to stay with Aang and not go see her dad, that she says something like a line or something that shows that I'm not sure what I would have done if I saw my dad anyway. She just says that, just like a throwaway line. And that helps us to know that there's some deeper meaning there. So that when she finally has her dad there, and there are these negative feelings that she has towards him that she doesn't know how to verbalize, we're not seeing it as, whoa, where did this come from? Because I'm not the only one who thought that. Men are not the only one who thought that. I've seen women be like, wow, I treated her dad like that. What happened? And then, of course, the show kind of half explains it to us. And we just have to get us, oh, she's just emotional. I don't know. I feel like they could have explained it better to make the depth of it show through. I'll say that. But I'm not blaming her for that. She had a reason to be upset with her dad. I just wish that they had explained it better. That way we could have all been on board with it instead of seeing it as a downfall of her character. Because it really wasn't. But I hate that you really have to think about it that hard for that not to have been a downfall of her character. Is all I'm saying. Her relationship with her dad is very interesting. I really feel like they could have capitalized on that. And I know that in the Northern Water Tribe, they're more cutthroat and deep with the ideas of their nation. But I really would have thought it was really interesting if they would have built up on that in the Southern Water Tribe. Is the Southern Water Tribe a place that Kana, their grandmother, could have run to because they were more free, right? So Hama, the bloodbender, she was a waterbender. There were a few waterbenders in the Southern Water Tribe, right? I had mentioned before in my Netflix adaptation video that I was wondering if possibly it's because of the 100-Year War that the Northern Water Tribe forbids women from waterbending because they don't want their women to get captured, like what happened in the Southern Water Tribe, right? Right. Or it could just have been that was always a thing for a separate reason, but the Southern Water Tribe was more free thinking, and so their women were always allowed to waterbend. Who knows? I'm just thinking out loud about the water nation here, Water Tribe. But I did I liked how Katara was really determined to learn waterbending, and how she stepped up to him and said, come out here if you're man enough to fight me, Paku. Let me know. Let me know if you're man enough. And he beat her ass, but he was impressed. And then after he found out that was his ex's granddaughter, he was like, you know what? Maybe if I was a nicer person, she would have stayed. Let me try and change now. A lot of people don't think that it was weird that he just switched in a 180. And because of the traditionalism of this Northern Water Tribe, I kind of agree. But like I said, if we're going to use the kids' show as a crutch for the plot, we can use it as a crutch for the plot now. Okay? Okay. Anyways, so she meets Aang. She immediately trusts him. Because how could you not trust that face? And she convinces Sokka to help her as she goes out there to help him with his mission. One thing I've always liked about Katara is that she's always wanted to help people. I've never seen that as a flaw. However, in the Painted Lady episode, Sokka was 1000% right. Okay, I'm just gonna say this, and I might go more in depth in his video, but Sokka was right. But apart from that one time, oh, Team Katara, let's help people, But Sokka was right. It could have ended up going really badly, and if they all weren't as good in their fields as they were, something bad really could have happened over there in that town. I think this town was called Jianghui or something like that. So sorry if I'm butchering that name. I really don't mean to. So something else I wanted to speak about was Katara's dynamic with Toph, and how well written that was. I was always on Toph's side because Toph's just my favorite character, and I understand the reason why she does everything. It's one thing I'll give them. I wish that they would have focused more on Toph, but the fact that they didn't allow them to just give her just enough characterization that I could agree with her 99% of the time. I loved how there was kind of this conflict between her trying to mother Toph like she mothers everybody else, and Toph being like, why don't you act like a kid? You are a child. Stop trying to mother me. And I feel like, people don't talk about this much, but I feel like Toph helped Katara calm down. Toph helped Katara relax. Toph helped Katara remember that she's a kid and enjoy that more. Of course, they had to grow up fast and be in a certain element. But I feel like the buffering of their relationship as they sharpened each other down, she helped Toph take things more seriously, and Toph helped her relax more, and that definitely brought up more of their character. I haven't watched Tales of Ba Sing Se as many times as I would have liked to, but I loved to see Katara defend Toph like that. To call her beautiful, to help her get rid of them bitches on the on the bridge. Like, oh, you're not special. Anyways, I love the progression of their relationship. How they were able to be there for each other, and I really liked that. I know that Katara was a little bit, laughing, like, oh, there's another girl in the group, finally, but Toph just ended up being a tomboy. But I like that she was able to roll with that and still ended up finding a sisterhood with her, right? And help Toph see that she can be a little girly while also being tough. I love that. Now let's talk about that scene, because I always want to talk about that scene between Katara and Zuko. That was Katara being nice and motherly. Up to that point in the show, she was shown to have a conscience that would allow her to be nice to people, even if she didn't have a good reason to. Yes, I'm saying it, okay? As a matter of fact, Zuko's betrayal of her in that very same episode is one of the things that hardened her and made her so much more tough in season 3. Don't fight with me, fight with your mama. Anyways, so in that scene, she realizes that she has a lot in common with Zuko in terms of this war. In terms of they both lost their mom. That's about it. She is seeing that maybe he could change because she is hearing the indecisiveness in his voice, and she's seeing that he's struggling. This is after Zuko has a midlife crisis, I guess you could say, and he's good for the hour. However, after Azula gives him an offer he can't refuse, he turns. But what I did like about that scene is that she was willing to heal him. She was willing to help the enemy, because that's the type of person that she is. No, I do not think she was willing to help him because she was attracted to him. What reason does she have to be attracted to him? Oh, you lost your mom? I lost my mom too. That's so hot. Let's make out. Shut up. If that was the case, she would have caught feelings for Aang the second she found out that he lost all of his people too. Just think, people, please. I know you like Zutara, but at least give me reasons that aren't as shaky as falling sand. Anyways, she was willing to help him because she's a good person. And me, I love me a good person. That's why I love Aang. That's why I love Katara too. I love Katara. The reason why I don't go around defending her is because she doesn't need to be defended. Okay? Katara is that bitch. Katara is queen. Katara is mother. Alright? Katara is that girl. She does not need to be defended. Let me explain. The writers did their job well enough. And while there's a good 2 to 3% that I did not enjoy, it still tracked with her character, and it went along. Her holding a grudge against Zuko and having all those angry outbursts with Toph tracks to her exact character in season 1. Like when she was jealous of Aang's talent. And then Aang decided to calm down with his waterbending so she could be master. Yes, I'm going to say it again because you guys need to hear that. She does have an anger management problem, but it's fine. She's in the middle of a war and she's lost her mom. So I think it's okay for her to have an anger management problem and to be distrustful of people after they stab her in the back. She wasn't distrustful of Zuko because she had feelings for him and he stabbed her in the back. But, excuse me? Just because her anger towards Zuko is similar to her anger towards Jet, if you guys actually analyze it, it's actually very different. She ended up trusting Jet a lot faster than she ended up trusting Zuko. And what did Sokka say? Katara doesn't hit anybody but people in the Fire Nation. Do you know how much the writers would have had to put into this story for her to have gotten over all that to like Zuko? They didn't have the time for that. The story was too good for them to focus on that. If you guys really want Zutara, beg them for it in the live action. The one you guys aren't planning to watch, but I will. Beg them for it in that one. I'm sure they'll have a lot more time to decide whether or not they're going to make that a thing or not. And yes, I'm okay with them not doing Katang. I would prefer if they did Katang and spent a little bit more time on it to make it even better. But I'm okay if they don't do Katang because it's a new show and the original will always be better. So I will just raise that as my point of reference and just have that as the cute little side thing I watch every now and then, good or bad. Now, let's get into Katara's relationships. The ones that you wanted and the ones that were actually confirmed. So Katara was dating Jet, that was confirmed. It's even confirmed in the show because Toph asked her about it and she lied and said no. And Toph said that she could tell she was lying. I really actually liked her and Jet. It showed that, you know, as grown up as Katara was shown to be, she was still a girl, and some girls really do just like the out there guy, you know, the bad boy, you know? Jet hurt her. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there is a level of that we didn't even get to see. She was the first boy that she liked, right? Trusted, thought, not only is this boy attractive, but he's fighting for the same cause I am. He's been hurt by the Fire Nation just like I was, and he's a great leader, and he can't even bend, but he's so good, like wow. And then he just ended up being an extremist, a zealot, you know? And she couldn't stop for that, and I really appreciate that once she realized that he was lying, her immediate thought was, my brother. I didn't believe my brother. I love her relationship with Sokka, and that's part of her relationship because that's her family relationship. I'll talk about that. Her relationship between her and Sokka is goated, and y'all are mad about it. I love seeing them together. I love seeing them defend each other. I love seeing how they work together. I love seeing how their relationship even grew. They grew stronger as a family unit. I love how, you know, she even built him up when he was feeling insecure about not being as talented as the rest of them fighting wise. We gotta love the relationship, but we gotta love Katara. I love Katara, okay? I do. Let's talk about Katara and Haru. Missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. I thought Haru was gorgeous, and I thought it would have been cute if Katara tried something. But of course, they were traveling around, they were in the middle of the war, they didn't have time, so I'm not gonna push them on that. But if they end up casting Haru, maybe they have, I can't remember, in the Netflix live action, I'm okay with a little bit of Haru action for a couple episodes. It doesn't have to last, but I'd like to see it. Now, Katara and Zuko, why am I not here for Zutara? Zutara is a cuter name than Katang, but it's not a cuter relationship, okay? It's just classic enemies to lovers, opposites attract. I guess you could say they're very similar in bending styles as well, whereas Aang is like Azula, where Aang is a prodigy, you know, versus Katara, who is talented, or whatever. But I guess people could say that Katara was a prodigy, so you know what, I guess they don't have that much in common as you thought. The only thing they have in common is that they're both willing to fight for what they believe in, and both of their moms are gone. That's about it. And Zuko has his mom. We found him in the search. So, for me, I feel like y'all just like it because y'all really over-sexualize Zuko, and y'all overly sexualize Katara, and you thought that the hottest people in the show just shoved them together. I'll be talking about May and Zuko's relationship in May's episode. Still not sure what I'm going to do anything about Zuko because there are thousands of videos on this app showing how great Zuko is as a character, so I don't need to add to that unless I'm going to be talking about unpopular opinions, but I don't want y'all to be mad at me. Long story short, I'm not really here for it because it's just not that interesting to me. And I feel like if they wrote it better, it could be. But I feel like as the way the characters stand now, we would have to dispense a lot of disbelief, and they'd have to jump through a lot of hoops to make that relationship work. And yes, I do know that Brian and Mike were thinking about doing Zutara during the show, like it could have actually been a thing, and then they changed their minds halfway through, which is why there was still a will they won't they with Aang and Katara, because they were planning to do Zutara, but then they backtracked. So yes, that does recontextualize some of the scenes. However, those scenes are so bare that even if they were there to be bare enough to have the fake context they needed to add the relationship, they still didn't have the relationship, and so the scenes are just end up being just that, scenes. They don't contextualize anything for me. I've seen all of the little 30-second mashups of scenes between Katara and Zuko, because that's what it is, about 30 seconds of scenes, up to a minute if you really stretch your imagination. The relationship is not giving. I'm sorry, it's just not giving. Let's talk about the relationship of this entire show, and that is Katang, Katara and Aang. I love them together because it makes sense. I'm sorry. I hate what Korra did to Aang and Katara's relationship as parents, but let's fuck that, because I'm gonna make other Korra videos. I will, because y'all got me messed up. Katara and Aang was built up. It wasn't immediate, and it wasn't necessarily endgame. Apart from people who watch TV all the time, you just know it's going to be endgame. Katara didn't wake up one day and realize Aang is it. No, she realized that over time. She got hints. That maybe Aang was the one, but alright. With them together, right? It grew slowly. And of course, Aang always liked her. But even when she was with Jet, he wasn't possessive of her at that time. He just thought, she's really beautiful and she's really nice. His feelings grew for her too. It wasn't immediate. He just thought she was pretty. And I like that. I like if you pay attention to the show, they both grew in love with each other. And of course, he fell for her first, but you know, that's how it should be. If you fall for the guy first, then, you know, less likely that it's gonna last. I'm sorry. I love the Kale of Two Lovers, where she decided, you know, maybe I should kiss him, and I don't mind kissing him. And they kissed. It was confirmed they kissed. And I like how Aang, you know, he had them daddy moments where he was just like, you know, I'm sorry. He had those macho moments where he was just, you know, being dominant, and Katara was usually very receptive, like that kiss before the Day of Black Sun, and you know, their dancing scene during that Fire Nation School episode, you know, when he was really giving masculinity, you know, toxic, because I'm being toxically masculine, never. But I like how she would slowly respond to him, and when she finally realized, yeah, I really do, I want this guy, but we're in the middle of the war and we don't have time. And I like that when they did have time, she decided to make moves. Okay, because Katara is that girl. Okay, she will make a move on a nigga if she like him. So yeah, I prefer their relationship. They're both very similar. They're both kind. They both see the best in people. Oh, I never said this in Aang's episode, but Aang was the first person to trust Zuko, and then Zuko betrayed Aang. Yeah, so when she said that I was the first person to trust you, that's not true chronologically, but we'll let her have that, because I'm sure Aang didn't talk about the fact that Zuko was the blue spirit, because Aang is that nigga and he knows how to keep his mouth shut. Anyways, so her and Aang are very similar. They're both very trusting, even to a fault. However, Aang is a little bit more forgiving, but we'll let him have that. He's a nomad. He's supposed to be more forgiving. It's his principle. She is morally strong, and Aang is a moral being. He doesn't like to hurt people. They go together. Zuko does not mind people getting hurt. Like, sometimes it bothers him, you know, when he sees that that person is a good person. But, you know, he's not above torture and stuff like that. So it's like, when y'all just be like, oh, she would have been so much better with Zuko. It's like, how? Zuko would have had to change his personality to fit with Katara. Let's just be honest about that. He would have had to change as a person even more than he already did to get with Katara. So please stop. Now, I'm not saying that in a relationship there isn't a give and take and a level of compromise, but I do like that in order for Aang and Katara to be together, it wasn't a matter of changing themselves. It was a matter of not being in the middle of a war where both of them could end up dying. They're like, yeah, now we're together. Of course, in the stupid comics, they were having this weird thing where their relationship just kind of seemed weird because they just kept doing all these weird pet names, but forget the comics because I can't stand most of them, only a few. I love them together because it just makes sense. The hero of the world, right by the strongest woman ever. They have similar goals. They have similar boundaries. They have similar life lessons. They have similar philosophies. It just looks good. I'm sorry. It looks good. And so I just want Katara to be happy with Aang. What else can I talk about here? I liked her evolving a relationship with Master Paku. I like how she grows from her mistakes. Because she does. Which is why I could never hate Katara like some people do. Because she grows from her mistakes. Unlike Korra. Yes, I'm going to be shady with Korra. And as much as I can. Because I'm sick and tired of being nice to y'all Korra supporters. Anyways, Katara is that girl. Katara is queen. Katara is mother. And this video is getting a little bit too long for me. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this latest Katara video. Hope you enjoyed the fan cams and the little scenes I put in this video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, Simmies. Goodbye. Susu. Ah, Katara. We love some good character development, don't we? Let's do